Notre Dame recruiting fans, I'm back for part two. Starting on the defensive line, we went through four prospects yesterday on the D line. Those guys were Keon Keeley, Brennan Vernon, two commits, and then Samuel Mpemba and Jason Moore, two uncommitted guys. But we're starting with the big defensive end, Hunter Osborne from Truesville, Alabama, Auburn, Bama, Florida, a few other schools in contention here. I see this one coming down to Bama and Auburn in what I have to say. Notre Dame maybe is around, but haven't heard a ton on this front. They have guys higher up on the board. Bama and Auburn have expressed a lot of interest. He's an Alabama kid. Don't see this one panning out for Notre Dame. Next is Bobacor Trower. I'm sorry, don't know how to say his name. This is a new target, though. West Roxbury, Massachusetts, was committed to Boston College very early in the process. Boston College, if I remember correctly, had 3 commits before their junior season started. So this was last summer. Notre Dame did not have a 2023 commit until late June of this year when Keon Keeley pulled the trigger. So Boston College got on these kids early, and Bobacor has been fabulous. Picked up some new, bigger offers since his junior year started. Notre Dame offered just a few weeks ago. I really like what he brings to the table. Is 250 pounds, 6'4", that's big, but moves extremely well. Mike Gelson really likes him. I like him a lot. I think he's a take, but we'll see if he moves off of his Boston College pledge, lives up in Massachusetts. It's close to home, committed early in the process, probably has a very good relationship with the coaches over there. So we'll see what happens, but this is a name to know for sure. One of the bigger names, Luke Montgomery, can play offensive line, defensive line. Honestly, he can play anywhere. Was teammates with Bronny James as a little kid. I like to point that out. They went all around the country. Luke Montgomery also hoops, still plays basketball, is a very prolific basketball player, but football is his main thing. Top 100 recruit nationally, according to Rivals. 34 total offers. I think the top schools here are Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, with Ohio State and Notre Dame pretty much in the set top 2. Has some family near South Bend, visited for the Cincinnati and USC game, visited by himself for the Cincinnati game, I would like to note. I don't know. I mean, growing up in Ohio, I think his dream school is Ohio State. I expect him to end up at Ohio State. My pick is on the Buckeyes, but you never know. I mean, Notre Dame fans thought the same thing with Brennan Vernon, and that didn't happen. So Notre Dame is definitely in contention for Luke Montgomery. But if I had to pick today, he's ending up in Columbus. Kendrick Gilbert next. Not sure if he's going to be a take. His older sister, though, does play basketball for the Irish. Michigan has been talking to him a good bit. Indiana, Iowa are a few other schools to know. But if Notre Dame wants him in this class, I doubt he says no to that. Devin Houston, very interesting kid. Older brother is Caleb Houston, Michigan shooting guard, who tips off just in a few minutes. They play Buffalo. But Devin Houston just moved down to the Maryland area from Canada. His brother, I know this because of his brother's recruitment. I followed it heavily. He moved to IMG. Caleb Houston did for basketball. Devin Houston, maybe we'll see him go to IMG as well for football, but I don't think he's as prolific of an athlete as his older brother was. But Devin Houston just started playing football a few years ago. Penn State offered just a little bit before Notre Dame did. Then Notre Dame came in and offered. But I definitely expect some big-time schools to offer as well. I could see, honestly, any of the top schools just because of how much potential he has. If Michigan gets involved, I bet they'd be hard to beat as his older brother does go there. But he definitely has some interest in Notre Dame. Ashton Sanders is next. This is a kid that if I think Notre Dame gets on the phone and says, you have a committable offer, I think he'd commit on the spot. Sanders visited South Bend for the USC game. Absolutely loved his time. Visited Bama this past weekend, was at USC a few weekends ago. My pick is on Cal. Disregard that. This recruitment is extremely early, and some more schools would definitely offer. Only these 5 offers as I'm recording this video. Plays at a very solid school in Cathedral in Los Angeles, but not one of the Mater Days or Servites or St. John Bosco's. But yeah, that's definitely one to know. Plan B or Plan C guy. Then let's head to the linebackers. One of the more interesting rooms. I quickly want to say this. I kind of just put Trey Edwards in the bottom right just to fill a spot. I don't think he's going to end up at Notre Dame. Early in the process, I was keeping a close eye on this recruitment. His father grew up a huge Notre Dame fan. He was a big Notre Dame fan, but I don't really think things worked out there. Definitely don't have him in my top 100 nationally. Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up at Notre Dame. Let's head to Troy Ford, bottom left, visited for the North Carolina game. Enjoyed his time. I just don't think he's a take. Definitely looked bigger than 6'2" when I saw him in South Bend. Big kid. South Carolina, Georgia Tech, Auburn. If the hometown Bulldogs were to offer, that would be pretty massive. He lives just a few hours away in Savannah. So honestly, don't see this one planning out for Notre Dame, but enjoyed his time. If things go south for Notre Dame in the linebacker department, I think they could maybe make a push there. Phil Picotti visited for the Navy game this past weekend. 5.7 rivals rank. Penn State, I think, is the hometown team. I think that's where he's going to end up. But if Notre Dame might have pushed some of the right buttons. I think he really enjoyed his time. I think he really likes South Bend, but it's hard to take these Pennsylvania kids away from Penn State. The hometown factor, the in-state factor is big, as we're seeing with Nwankpa right now. That's what's feeding Iowa's charge. Nicholas Singleton, another Pennsylvania kid from Governor Mifflin High School, he committed to the in-state Nittany Lions just a few months ago over Notre Dame, we're not going to get into that recruitment, but yeah, I mean, staying home is a huge thing. Luther Burden, 5-star wide receiver, arguably the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in the country, committed to Mizzou. He's from St. Louis. So, hey, it's becoming more and more of a factor for these kids. As we go to Tamir Robinson, another guy, my pick is on Pitt. They're having a very good year. Is from Bashir High School, has a lot of family in Pittsburgh. We'll see. Lives there, of course, but Notre Dame is looking good here. I think they're probably in the top 3 or 4 alongside Penn State, Pitt, and Ohio State. Michigan maybe in there as well. Thinking about this recruitment, I do not think he's visited campus this fall. I could be wrong, but this is a kid who visited, I believe, once in June and July with his good friend Anthony Specca, 2024 linebacker that is Donovan Heinrich's teammate at Central Catholic High School in Pittsburgh. But Tamir Robinson definitely got to know. Marcus Freeman really likes his game. Finally, the top 2 linebackers to know, Drake Bowen and Sonny Styles. Bowen committed, big commitment. He's going to recruit the hell out of guys like Sonny Styles. Went up for the Navy game just to spend time with him. Boy, this Sonny Styles recruitment will get interesting. Bowen will help, but in my opinion, he's the number 1 player in the country. He has all the tools in the toolbox. Is a multi-sport athlete. Has the blood with his older brother, Lorenzo. Pretty good wide receiver at Notre Dame as an 18-year-old, and his father playing for the Buckeyes just about 40 years ago. So, I mean, Sonny Styles, wow. If Notre Dame were to land him, that's some serious recruiting. And I think they're in the lead. I think it's extremely close, but my pick is on Notre Dame, and I'm going to keep it there. So we'll see what happens. But Sonny Styles is 100% the number 1 target on the board, offensive or defensive, in my personal opinion. And Marcus Freeman and Chad Bowden, I believe, think the same. Heading to the defensive back room, very nice room. AJ Harris, don't know if that one's going to work out. Had a fabulous visit to North Carolina. Dre Bly just does an incredible job. I was actually in town for the UNC weekend, and I saw Dre Bly taking some photos with Touchdown Jesus in the stadium. I didn't say what's up. I kind of wanted to. I recognized him just from all these recruits' photos and whatnot, but wow, Dre Bly is the defensive back coach at North Carolina. I believe he's on the staff. But wow, just a special connection. AJ Harris was blown away by Chapel Hill. Clemson, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, few others to know, but I don't think this one's going to work out with him ending up in South Bend. Malik Muhammad, another guy to know, very solid player, top 100. Got to get him on campus if you're Notre Dame with Texas A&M, Texas pushing right there. Justin Rhett is another top 100 guy in my opinion, top 50 according to Rivals. I don't know if I'd have him that high, but the picks are in for Notre Dame. I agree with my selection. Very, very talented player. Alabama, Georgia, a few other schools here. Oregon, Texas A&M, but I think when it comes down to it, he's going to end up in South Bend, which would be just absolutely massive. And then Christian Gray's another kid. Mizzou, Ohio State, and Notre Dame are probably the top three. Ohio State, ND, more specifically in the top two. Was planning on getting up for the South or USC game. Never happened. I was frustrated by that, but hopefully he can get up for the Georgia Tech game, if not junior day, and then an official visit in the spring, summer, or fall. He blew up. June 1st, if I remember correctly. He went to Columbus, participated in one of the Buckeyes camps, offered on the spot, and then he just made headlines. Pretty much everybody started offering. I think those 13 offers happened in just the span of a few weeks. But yeah, blew up, wants to take his time with the process. No shame in that, but I think it's going to come down to Notre Dame and Ohio State. I want to note this one currently goes to the same high school that Jordan Johnson, former Notre Dame wide receiver, went. DCMA High School. Mac Marquay, who just committed to Florida, went there as well. Amari Snowden, corner from Michigan, has been a frequent visitor. Was here in South Bend for Cincinnati, North Carolina, I think even USC, Navy. I mean, he's been in Notre Dame a lot. I don't know if he's going to end up in this class, so I just don't think they're pushing for him all too hard as they have other guys high on the board. But he's definitely got to know. Possesses some great size at 6'3". Ryan Yates is next, corner from Guyer, Texas. I want to note this. In my personal opinion, if I were to make a mock class right now, I would include all three of the Denton, Texas, Guyer High School players who Notre Dame offers. Jackson Arnold at quarterback, Ryan Yates at corner, and then Peyton Bowen at safety. I'm confident all those three guys end up in Notre Dame. Not very confident, more confident on others than others, of course. But hey, Ryan Yates, loved Notre Dame, visited for the USC game. His other two teammates came in for the North Carolina game. Both loved their time. Wouldn't that be pretty crazy if you get three teammates from a power school in Texas all to commit to Notre Dame? That would shock some people. That would make some serious waves. But we'll see what's going to happen. The odds are that does not happen. But hey, just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for those three guys. And then finally, the safeties. I'll start with who I just talked about. Peyton Bowen, top left of your screen, top 80 player. In my opinion, he's the best out of the three. Peyton Bowen is just one hell of an athlete. Fast, attacks the ball, plays good coverage. He's all you want in a safety. If Notre Dame strikes out on Xavier Nwankpa, you need to get a guy like Bowen. Oregon, Bama, few others are in this one, but I think Notre Dame leads by a pretty substantial margin. Caleb Downs is next. Don't really think this one ends up with him in South Bend. Clemson, North Carolina, Bama, Georgia are probably the top four schools here. His brother is Josh Downs, slot wide receiver, who carved Notre Dame up just a few weeks ago. He was at that game watching his brother, but he said he was cheering on the Irish. I don't know. I think he ends up in North Carolina, but that's just me. And then finally, King Mac. Just want to get another guy on here. I don't think Notre Dame's really pushing too hard for the St. Thomas Aquinas prospect. Fabulous high school name, by the way. St. Thomas Aquinas. I love that name. Visited in July. Really liked what he saw, but just don't think they're pushing for him all too hard. My pick is on Miami, but don't put anything into that. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment if you have any questions. That's it for me. Peace.